Welcome back. I'm Stacy DeWitt. I was thinking this morning about change and how it can be so frustrating when we're not seeing the changes happen fast enough in our life. I've certainly been there. And when we have a problem, whether it's a physical problem, we're in a job we don't like, we're in a relationship that doesn't seem to be working, and there's lots of conflict, right? You name it. Lots of situations that we're all dealing with. I want to invite you to ask yourself, what are you focusing on? Are you focusing on the problem? Are you focusing on the solution? And are you in your head? Or are you connecting with your heart? So usually we're stuck in our head and we're focusing on what we don't like. The problem with that is we're going to get more of that. Right? So and there's many teachings out there on this, and I have found it really helpful over the years, following different folks like, Abraham Hicks in the Law of Attraction category, Joe Dispenza, who's all about changing your reality and projecting yourself into the future, but acting as if that is now. See, most of us are waiting to feel better once things in our reality change. The problem with that is it doesn't work. So let's use an example. Let's say you're really fed up with your job and you get up every day and you feel a certain way about it and you go through the motions, probably on some version of autopilot. That's a habit. And as Joe Dispenza would say, that's your personal reality. Your personality is your personal reality. And we just accept it like this is the way it is. I can't do anything to change it because I don't know what to do. But when you focus on that being your reality, I invite you to think about, why would it be any different if that's what you expect and if that's how you act? So the tricky part about all this is, see, we're all looking for something to change in the reality so we can feel better. But as Joe Dispenza and others talk about, it is the reverse. So what is so helpful to actually make the change in your personal reality, or your personality to make it your personal reality, is to go inward. So I've been talking about heart coherence and how helpful it is to get out of your head into your heart. When you get connected with your heart space, quieting the mind, which can take a lot of practice. So if you're not already doing this and you start trying to do it, you might get really frustrated that your mind does not want to be quiet. And we can't force it to. And the goal really isn't to make your mind be completely quiet, but you will naturally start to experience more quietness. Allow your mind at first to let it do its thing. You don't need to follow it. You don't need to believe it. But let it be there. And if you do that with consciousness, just invite it and go, okay, what do you got for me? Right? Let it, probably you've heard maybe the term brain dump. Just let it be there. And then once you allow it to do that and you connect with your heart area and following those steps about taking a few breaths, tune in to your heart area, use visualization if that works for you. Imagine that you're breathing in and out through your heart. Then think of something you love. Think of something you've done or a person in your life. And it's got to be something that has no negative charge to it. And really let yourself go there. And then, as I have guided in my video, and there's other amazing videos. Joe Dispenza, by the way, has some wonderful videos. I will be making some more videos, but his are just absolutely top notch. Yep, you got to pay for them. They're like $25 or $30 each. There's actually a bunch of them on different people's YouTube channels. They're sharing it. But you got to find one that's a good style for you. His has a very different style, but basically what he's doing is guiding you. A lot of them are directly about connecting with your heart, opening up to love. And then he'll bring in, think about what you want your life to be like. So it's kind of like projecting into a future version of yourself. But just think about what you want. So if we come back to the job example, so if you really hate your job, fantasize about if you know what you would actually like to be doing. Think about that while you're connected to your heart. Feel what you would feel if you were in that job, career, business, whatever it is, really tune in. What would you like about it? Think about what would your day be like? It doesn't even have to be just about your job or career. Just using that as an example, but what would your day be like? And would you like it because you'll be connected to your passion? If you're doing anything that doesn't light you up, it's going to suck the life out of you. If you're doing anything just for money, then we will prioritize money over ourselves when we're in a job that we don't like. And yes, we live in a reality. We're humans, right? We live in a reality where we got to pay bills and there's all of these responsibilities. And you can keep doing that while you also get out of your head, get out of that story that I'll never change and it won't work. And what you tell yourself is the truth. But notice what happens when you change the chemistry and raise the energetic vibration in your body by connecting to your heart space, thinking about something or someone that you love. You will instantly shift how you feel. Then it's even easier to think about what you want. And when you do this regularly, I highly recommend a couple times a day, but start wherever you're at. You can start with 2 or 3 minutes, 30 seconds, like whatever works. Start where you're at. And then you're going to start to see some changes in your life without even having to try, because we don't really create a lot of change by pushing and working hard. Now, are you going to need to take some action? Yes. So maybe one of the first action things you can do, if you're fantasizing about leaving your job before you ever take that step, do some research. Look up, what are people doing who are in that job? How did they get there? I love to listen to stories of people. So depending on what it is that you want to do, lots of stuff out there for like entrepreneurs and all these things. But it all starts with vision and connecting with high vibe emotions, high vibe feeling states. This will start to change your reality. It has definitely worked for me. I will share a quick example about before I knew all of this, okay, and why I'm so passionate about teaching this now. So years ago, my first job as a therapist was in a school, and I actually turned out I loved that job. I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I did, but it didn't take too long before it started to feel very limiting, and there were lots of rules because I was working for an agency, and all these rules about what you could and couldn't do, and tons of paperwork and all these things. And so I knew I wanted to go into a private practice and have my own business. And I went through the steps. I actually created it. I created the business. I started seeing a few clients after, school hours. But I couldn't take the leap. I was so scared. I'm like, well, what if I can't make it? What if I can't make enough money? I'm going to lose my health benefits and all the negative stuff, all based in fear. And so I'm plugging along, and we'd have mostly summers off. And so as it would ramp up, getting closer to August, starting to move into, oh my gosh, I have to start the school year again with all of this low vibe, negative energy. I wasn't feeling connected to my passion and my purpose. And I really wanted to help people experience profound transformation, not just cognitive, like behavioral types of changes, which when you're working in a school environment, that's pretty much what you're focusing on. So it got to the point where we were going to have to do this training. And when I heard about it, my whole body was like, no way. And I told myself, I don't know how, but I'm going to be done before I need to go do that. And that was enough to prompt me to just be done. And I took the leap. I was very successful because I'd already established a lot of relationships and a lot of referral bases. And depending on the business that you're in, but certainly being a therapist is really helpful to have, right? Some people who are going to recommend and refer people to you. But at some point, there's no guarantees. There was no guarantee it was going to work. But I so didn't want to go to that training. I couldn't see myself doing it. I felt tense. I felt frustrated. And I gave notice. So I didn't have to go to that training. So that serves a purpose, right? Something that you really, really don't want. can be just the initiator for you to take the leap. Because often it's going to be a leap at some point. Once you've set things up and you've done the visualizing and you've done what you can, there's still that step to actually leave. Because, unless you have a really nice nest egg savings account where you feel comfortable leaving, I wasn't going to wait for that. I wasn't. I couldn't build the nest egg. I wasn't making enough money at this job. It was a really not very high income job. And so it was kind of funny because I didn't need very many clients in private practice before I was going to exceed my salary there. So I am teaching these techniques and these mindsets and these tools so you don't have to wait till you're fed up. But it's okay if you are. There's nothing wrong. You're not doing anything wrong. But when I think about what I went through and I think about how could it be done faster? That being said, I think we're all in the path that we're meant to be on with regard to like what we need, what do we need to see, what do we need to experience in order to get the change? Because some of us really are run by fear on really, really high gear. And that was me. It still hits me and I'm still working on the things that I'm scared to do. I used to be completely afraid to get on YouTube. And I've done the work and I got over it. And now I'm so focused on wanting to put helpful content out to the world because I have benefited by it. Listening to people on YouTube, it just happens to be the one that there's TikTok, there's Instagram, right? There's all kinds of great resources in social media too, but I find YouTube really easy, and once you get into it, the stuff similar to what you watch pops up, and people are really going outside the box, and I really, really appreciate it. And so free content is super helpful. And then I jumped into a coaching program to help me even get more organized and get my content out into the world. This is a time of change to transcend patterns, to say no more to the teachings out there. Take in the teachings actually that are they're meant to help you expand beyond where you're at. And maybe not 10 steps down, maybe 1 or 2. If you're here watching this, it's because you want to grow. You're tired of being limited by your fear. You know that there's more, and you need some help, new ideas, new tools in order to get there. You don't have to do it alone. I invite you to reach out to me to find out how. The program for how you can actually see the change, be the change actually, before you can see it outwardly in your behaviors. You got to start inward and then also take some action. Pick one thing that you can do. If you're not a meditator and you don't ever sit and get calm, highly recommend it. People immediately go, well, I can't do that. It's too uncomfortable. I can't shut my mind off. Well, that's what's going to happen at first. Absolutely. Don't go try to do an hour meditation the first time you sit down. There are guided meditations, guided visualizations. It can be really hard to sit in the quiet. But even, listen to a fan. Abraham Hicks talks about that. It changed your life. But we have to get out of our head, our ego mind, and begin to see and feel. See through visualization, feel what it would feel like to actually live your life in a way that would light you up. You would wake up wanting to get out of bed and go through your day. I guarantee you it's possible. And don't ever give up. Please feel free to reach out to me and comment questions. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.